little behind the scenes. Here we go. Hey guys, Philip Nelson here with another impromptu episode of the Philip Nelson podcast. I am excited today to have a very special guest, a longtime friend, and one of the music legends of San Antonio, Texas, King Pelican himself, Ernest Hernandez. So let's start that over, Rodney. You got that title in way too late. Okay, we're going to take two. No, stay on me, and then when I start talking, bring in the title. Don't wait so long. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, Philip Nelson here with another special impromptu episode of the Philip Nelson podcast, live from Nelco Comics in San Antonio, Texas. We are here today for a very special reason. I've got a guest with me that is a longtime friend, one of the San Antonio kings of music. In fact, it's the King Pelican himself, Ernest Hernandez. Ernest, it's exciting to have you here today.
Thank you, Philip. I'm super happy to be here. I love this shop, man. Nelco Comics is absolutely awesome.
Well, we're doing something kind of different with your guest appearance. We're playing King Pelican in the background, and so you'll hear some music playing as we talk, because we're talking music and you should hear some amazing surf music. So, Ernest, let's just jump right into it. We'll talk about what's sitting on the table in a minute, but
sure. Tell
me a little bit about King Pelican, why surf music in San Antonio?
Okay. Many years ago, a good friend of mine and myself, Dennis Fallon, excellent guitar player, we were both playing in a band called the Dead Crickets, a rockabilly band. They later became another bigger band, but I'm not going to mention them right now. But Dennis and I we were playing guitars together, and Dennis is a real surfer. I mean, he actually surfs the ocean waves. He was all into surf music, and he got me really hooked. It brought up some memories from my childhood when I used to listen to The Ventures while I read comic books. How about that?
That's perfect.
And we'd always threatened to do a surf band. So a handful of years later, I called him up and I said, I've got my guitar, I've got records, and I've got beer, and I'm going over and we're going to do this. And so we started it, and then Dennis was pretty busy he's a professional guitar player, so he was pretty busy in other bands. So eventually we became a three-piece. And around that time I started to write tunes because, Philip's not just like surf, it's that whole early mid, almost to late 60s vibe, spaghetti western, spy, the atomic age, mid-modern century stuff, just all that rich palette of sounds and colors. So the concept is to reimagine the music that was made. I feel like a lot of good stuff was left on the table because, the Beatles came to town.
Mm-hmm.
So what I pitched to my partners in this band was, let's use the palette. Let's use the guitars, the drums, the sounds, the reverb, and let's continue the story. Let's write our own stories about how great this country is and how great it is to move, whether it's on a skateboard or in a muscle car or on a surfboard, As Americans, especially Texans, we're very into movement.
Right.
We like racing. We like just whatever we can to being on the train, being on the plane, whatever it is. We like moving. Being on a horse, for that matter. So just started to continue to write. I'm a visual person, as you know. My day gig is me being very visual. Every song has a story to it.
Right.
Almost every song. Some are just kind of fun stuff.
Even the instrumentals.
Well, they're all instrumentals.
Well, that's true.
So there's a backstory to it. Like the song that you might hear in the background now is called Tuco's Lament, and it's continuing the story of Tuco from the good and the bad and the ugly.
Oh, wow.
To his ultimate demise, fun stuff like that. So we're a surf band, but we're an instrumental band, really.
Right.
And I think people come out to hear us play because really, at the end of the day, it's just good rock and roll that we're doing,
You guys can definitely own a room. I've seen you guys live. I've also heard a lot of your music online and, on records. And if you have not seen King Pelican live, do yourself a favor because, it's funny. To me, the iconic sound of surf is that perfect reverb.
Yeah.
It's just like it's buttery and great and you guys dialed it in and it is just so much fun.
Thank you.
To catch your live shows.
Reverb is it's awesome. It's fantastic. It's so much it's an instrument within the context of this style of music. Everybody in the band, the drummer, bass player, Darren Cooper, our drummer, Lloyd Walsh, our ex-bass player, and now Chris Zabrowski, our current bass player, they all have reverb. I mean, they all play guitar. They have surf guitars. They have reverb. So we just get very nerdy, very silly about, real particular about reverb.
So spring?
Absolutely.
Is spring the only choice?
I've had a really good pedal that is not spring. Used it for a lot of years because it was so compact, but still it's the outboard reverb tanks that really get it for you. Get you the sound that you want. I'm not a purist, I'm just an enthusiast.
As long as it sounds right, you're good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because my favorite amp of all time is the Fender Twin Reverb.
Yeah.
Those blackface Fender Twins.
Yeah.
With that big spring reverb stuck down in the bottom.
Yeah.
I just thought those amps sounded so good. I have a Super as well, but the Twin, I don't know, for some reason that was just my favorite.
Man, Fender amps are fantastic. And I have nothing but respect and admiration for Marshalls and Vox amps, but for some reason I've just stuck with the Fender sound. And Twins they are beasts. Those things they can fill a room and they can break your back moving them. So
yeah, well, I also have a Super Reverb,
Supers
which breaks your back even faster because it's 4 speakers instead of 2,
and it's unwieldy because of the way it's built. It's hard to get a good handle on it. If
you don't have a case with wheels, you're gonna be hating yourself at the end of the night.
I have a Bandmaster, which is the separate cabinet with a head on top and you piggyback, tilt it back. But I've been using a deluxe reverb a lot.
Oh yeah,
because it's just a lighter amp. We get in and especially when we're playing on a bill where there might be 3 bands on the bill, and you've got to get on and get off pretty quickly.
Right.
It takes me a while to set up my Bandmaster because it's 2 components plus the reverb tank plus the little pedal board. But with the deluxe, I can just go pretty immediate, pretty fast. Set up and tear down.
That's awesome. So geek out just a little bit more.
Yeah.
King Pelican is not just a San Antonio band. I mean, I say you're the Surf Kings of San Antonio, but give us a story of the gig that you geeked out the most on. We talked about one yesterday, and I have a feeling that may be it. But if it's not it, then I'm going to be even more surprised.
Easy. Actually, there are 2, but the one I'm going to go with for this conversation, we several years ago we did a number of dates in Mexico City, and Mexico City has a rich music scene. Oh yeah, especially at that particular time, anything mid-century was like hopping. Man, it's just happening, and a lot of great surf bands in Mexico City. A lot of great surf bands in Central and South America, not only North America, which I'm impressed with. We were playing one of the venues, and I forgot the name. I probably can't pronounce it. It was outside of Mexico City. It was in this little industrial district, little industrial town, but around a art district. Okay. Because these days, art districts really like to pop up in affordable areas, which are typically industrial, right? That seems to be the model. And there were 5 bands on the bill, and the organizer promoter asked us to get there early so that we could sign stuff, because even though we're playing Mexico City, it's still, the economy is such that they were having to package records and T-shirts and posters to make it worth the value for people to come out. And part of it was us signing stuff. And we didn't go on. We were the last band. So the night was long, but it was fun. The bands were fantastic. We're watching this band. They were the Hometown Heroes. I believe the band was Los Astros playing. 5-piece band. And just had the crowd. They were killing it, Philip. They were just killing it. They were surfing, and then they switched gears into a cumbia, and then the house would go crazy. And people are, buying us drinks and, hanging out with us. And I looked at the drummer, and our drummer he's somewhat competitive. He's always feeling like we're going to.
So they're owning the crowd, so you got to find a way to own the crowd more.
They're a 5-piece, and we were a 3-piece. And I said
Right.
to him, man, I'm a little worried here, And he's like, yeah. And it's the first time I ever have heard him actually possibly acquiesce that another band might hand it to us tonight.
Oh, wow.
And so I, mentioned to him, I said, man, we just got to come out fast and hard and just get faster and louder. Let's just
come out at 100 miles an hour and keep accelerating.
We're going to drop our pretty songs and just kind of keep driving. And so we kicked it off, when we were, we had some very special to Mexico City type of adult beverages, so we were feeling pretty good. And we went out and we hit it, man, and we just had a blast, and the crowd was into it. They're having a great time. It's probably like 2:30 in the morning by that point. We finished our set, and they're still going crazy, and I told the guys, we don't have any place to be tomorrow, so let's just keep playing. So we did. We played probably close to another set.
Wow.
We didn't get back to our hotel till like 5 o'clock in the morning. And we had left the hotel at 5 p.m. in the evening. So it was a full 12-hour journey. But, man, it just was so good. It felt so good.
An epic night of music.
In and around Mexico City. My family and I went to Mexico City in June to just hang out and visit places. And I looked up some of my friends that are there that had been in our gigs, and they told me something that was really it was super validating as an artist, if I want to think that way. He said we had touched a lot of people.
Wow.
When we played there before, because we were so accessible, and they really felt like we had had a brotherhood with them. And one of my buddies was telling me, you launched a lot of bands.
Wow.
When you were down here, and that's kind of what's happening. And I thought, well, that could be the mezcal talking, but I'm going to go ahead and take it. So yeah, that one was very epic to me.
That is cool. And the thing I love about that story is it's not about name drop. It's about an amazing night of music that just you didn't want to end, and the crowd didn't want to end, and so it didn't end. It just continued.
Yeah.
That's that epic magical moment that I as a musician, you step on stage, and when you gel with the crowd and they gel with you, and everybody's just having a blast, it's like, this is why we did it, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great feeling. It's a lot of fun.
Dude, that's pretty sick. So there's a reason we're doing this timely, spontaneous podcast today, and that is because King Pelican has a new record coming out. It is Volume 2, King Pelican. And what's cool, the way this happened is Ernest comes into the comic shop yesterday just to hang out. We start talking about records. We start talking about King Pelican.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, let's put some King Pelican records at the comic shop. Because record stores are amazing. I'm a huge record store fan. But sometimes it's like new people that may not go to a record store, and they're like, we need this. Do you have any 45s?
No, we have
If you do, I was going to say I'll put you in my jukebox.
Unfortunately, we have a 7-inch EP.
Yeah.
But the length of one of the sides is too long for it to be a 45 RPM. So they had to cut it at 33.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say I would love to have King Pelican in the Nelco Comics jukebox.
So we can make that
So
happen.
let's take a look at this record because we're hearing some of the music right now.
Yeah.
So before because I love to look at vinyl. I
Yes.
like to take it out of the case. It's making music physical. It's not just putting on some headphones and listening to Spotify. But to tell me a little bit about this record. When you guys decided to make King Pelican Volume 2, why was it important to make this record?
Well, we had a lot of material that we had not put out yet. So our last effort was a 7-inch EP that I mentioned, 4 songs on there. And we had some important dates coming up, so it was important that we get an EP, get something out. And in the process before that, we had gone in the studio and recorded tunes and tracks, and I started listening to them. Then we had a handful of new stuff, so I pitched to the band. I said, let's go ahead and put out everything. Let's go ahead and get everything done.
No EP. We're going for the full size.
We want to go for the full, 12-inch vinyl, 10 songs, and started listening and just started, sequencing the songs, and I went, I like this. And our EP had been so conceptual, like we knew what we wanted to express. It was kind of paying homage to different types of instrumental music from the 60s, Japanese instrumental surf called Aleki, and then, of course, spaghetti western. It was called East Meets West. Stylistic cover art done by a really great graphic designer in town. And this is such a rangy collection of tunes that
I'm shilling for you while you talk. This is everyone. Look, it's King Pelican Volume 2.
I had recalled
now available at Nelco Comics.
that the bands in the past have put out stuff like Greatest Hits 2 or Volume 2, and there's never been a Volume 1 or Greatest Hits 1. Like my favorite story that I've heard in that type of deal, I think it was Conway Twitty put out a record that was called 25 Golden Hits, but it only had 12 songs. So thinking in that term, I worked with a graphic designer again, Jamie Stolarski, great guy. And the way we like to work together is I like to send him vintage stuff, swatches, just for a palette
like
of colors.
a style sheet.
Like a style sheet. So this is what I knew I wanted. I wanted this color. I wanted this color to be in there. I was falling in love with this color because I felt it was different, than what you typically see in a surf palette, which usually is a lot of turquoise.
It's ocean colors.
Blue, ocean turquoise, stuff like that.
You went with the sunset palette.
Yeah. And then brown. I'd sent Jamie a vintage travel poster, traveled to Acapulco. And it was a really cool poster. So we got the color down. And then I mentioned to him, I think I want to call it Volume 2.
That's cool.
And then he came up with this 2. And I just went, oh my God, I just love this 2 completely. It somewhat almost looks like a bird head if you look at it one way. I also like the fact that it does look like a horizon and a sunrise or
That's
sunset.
when I first saw it, I'm thinking sunset.
There's some layers to it, which I dig, and then flipping it on the other side, it's just he'd redesigned our logo for us, which I love. I was going to bring you a sticker, but we're out.
Well, the official use of stickers at Nelco Comics is they go on the pipe in the bathroom. And Nick Soup is the first, Nick, the graffiti artist here in town.
Yeah.
He's a muralist, just a beast. And he came here to hang out. And then next time I went in the bathroom, I was like, there's a Nick Soup sticker in there. I'm like, I called him. I'm like, Nick, you couldn't resist, could you? He goes, no, that pipe needed a sticker.
That pipe needs
so
something.
So that pipe needs a King Pelican as well. So you got to bring me a sticker at another time. So one of the things, we're talking about graphic design. Sometimes the hardest things to design are things that look simple.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, it's easy to, have diarrhea of design and just have crap everywhere.
Yep.
But it's just iconic looking. And like you said, there's a lot of layers to it. So let's talk about the music. We've talked about graphic design. So side A, was there a theme for each side, or was it a story flow from the first song to the last?
It was what you'll hear in the record is side A has a certain production technique to it that I'm really liking. So side A these are more of the recent songs that we've written. Starting with Port Isabel, I'm loving what we're doing now as far as our formula for guitars and how we're handling the bass, how we're handling the drums. I like that sound a lot, and that production value continues on through side A. Side B, you're going to find some hidden treasures that we've been playing live for a lot of years, but we've never recorded or put out. Like this song that's on here right now, it's called Sky Ride, and I originally wrote this for Luminaria.
Oh, cool.
When we did, we were accepted as a multimedia artist. I put together a bunch of film clips commemorating Hemisphere 68 and wrote songs to match the different iconic things from Hemisphere 68. One of them being the gondolas that, would go overhead, and just called it Sky Ride.
That's cool.
And
so all the San Antonio fans will have that tribute. If you get a copy of Volume 2 of King Pelican Volume 2, Sky Ride, that is cool. So you wrote that for the Luminaria residency deal?
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about hearing Dune Buggy because that's coming up next, I hear.
Dune Buggy was a fun song. Some of these songs I've flavored over for years or months. Dune Buggy I wrote in an afternoon. Just because
Dune Buggy's coming up right now in the background. Hopefully you guys can hear a little bit of it. We didn't want to overpower you with background music, but Ernest is such a professional. He shows up to shoot this, and he's like, I brought my speaker. Let's have some music playing. I'm like, that is a great idea. We talk about music, and let's have some music.
I feel like there should be music if we're talking.
So this is Dune Buggy right now.
This is Dune Buggy.
He's going to turn it up. We have that kind of capability here at Nelco Comics.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun driving song.
It's about a dune buggy. Have you ever been on a dune buggy?
Yes, I have. In fact, across the street at my warehouse, I have a Volkswagen Super Beetle.
Oh, God.
And my daughter wants it. It's kind of rusted out. And I was like, you know what? We should make a dune buggy out of this. And she's like, no, I want to restore it. And
dune buggy.
A dune buggy would be super fun. Tow it down to Port Aransas and go act like an idiot. That sounds great. Most people ride around in golf carts. I want to be riding around in a dune buggy.
We go down in the soft sand, down by Soft Shell, and go
actually be a dune buggy and use it as it was intended.
Go out there and gig some flounder, man, and just make ceviche all day long.
That sounds pretty good.
Doesn't it? That's what I want to do. So I'll tell you a dune buggy story just real fast. I get it. I get the whole dune buggy culture. Years ago, I was on a video shoot somewhere. Maybe you can tell me what lake this is, but it's close to the London Bridge in Arizona. Okay. So it's where California, Arizona, and Nevada meet, right? Just the three of them. And there's usually set up, there's water, but then there's sand, right? So we were at camp. We had just had dinner, and these guys associated with it all had ATVs, four-wheelers, and a dune buggy. So we were going to go out riding the dunes at night.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And just ocean of sand, man. Just dunes go on forever. And so we got on the ATVs. We buddied up. Everybody had a buddy. And we got out and we started riding. Well, the dune buggy's the lead, right? And the dune buggy has that super tall flag. Right. And now I know why.
You can see it.
You can see it, especially when they're at the bottom of the dune, and you're still kind of ascending on one. Philip, we get to this wall. Like the dune buggy was probably about 15 feet tall.
Maybe the flag was at 15?
maybe not, maybe a little less than 15. Let's just call it 12 for right now. And it just a slight incline on this wall of sand. Dune buggy like hits it. ATVs are hitting it. It's my first time on an ATV in that situation. I was like, I don't know.
What was I thinking?
Yeah, and I stalled out because I didn't.
You didn't gun it enough.
No, I like went up halfway and I came back down, and my partner said, "Dude, we got to get up that wall or we're gonna be lost." And we have
They're
no
not
idea.
stopping.
We have no idea where we are. And so I backed up, and Philip, you just have to open the throttle all the way.
Close your eyes and just get over the edge.
And the incredible thing is those tires do all the work.
Yeah.
It was amazing. They just come up on top, and before you know it, see the flag, the sliver of the flag off in the distance. Luckily, we had a full moon, and we were able to catch up because, of course, they start slowing down when they know that they're missing part of their posse at that point.
Where's Ernest? We've lost someone. Leave him.
It wasn't
Leave
just
him.
me. It was my partner, who I don't recall his name right now, but it was pretty terrifying for a moment. But, man, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
That is cool.
Once I knew what I was doing.
So now, so when you wrote Dune Buggy, did you have that experience in mind of that adventure?
Yeah.
I got to get up this wall. I mean, is there a part of that song that is the wall?
Yeah, it's the bridge.
All right, can you let's cue that up and let's let them hear the wall, because I think breaking down music is really cool.
Okay, yeah.
Let's find the bridge, and then we can crank it up for a second, and hopefully you guys can hear it. Rodney, I know you're in the control room. Can you hear the music okay on the headphones? I think he said yes. So let's crank it up a little bit more.
This is a verse. So it's just you're on Dune Buggy and you're riding right now. And you're having some fun. This is when you're starting to kind of hit waves of sand, right? It's all fun. It's all good. And we keep going. And then we go back to the verse, It's just you and I chatting on the Dune Buggy, about this is fantastic, what we're going to do, what we're going to drink, what we're going to eat afterwards, right? Laughing. And then we go back to hitting a few more waves in the sand.
I like it how you're saying waves in the sand. You're a surf band. You're surfing sand.
That's what it's like. Here's the wall right here.
Little tension.
Yeah. Right here. Victorious. Back to the purr of the Dune Buggy.
You see the flag at that point, and it's like, we made it. We're good. Let's get back with the group.
Yeah.
We have not been abandoned in the desert.
No, that's how it goes, man.
That's really cool. So, it's really interesting with music, with any art, but it's like so much thought goes into every turn, every brush stroke, every line, or every note. But just like, it's like what I love is somebody could just listen to this song without thinking and enjoy it. And then, but hearing that story, you can envision, like you said, we're surfing the sand, then we're visiting, and then, we have the wall. And then success, we survived, and we're not lost in the desert. So it is really cool to kind of break down the music like that.
I'm a visual person, so and the thing I like about it too, Philip, is that that's my story, right? You may listen to the song, take the title, and run with your own story, your own experience about being on a Dune Buggy, and I think that's super cool, So, yeah. Thank you for that.
That is cool. I see we broke down a song, so everyone should rush out and buy King Pelican Volume 2, and then skip straight to Dune Buggy and think about your visual story. You mentioned something interesting because you're a musician. It's a band, I know, but you are a visual storyteller as well.
Yeah.
That it's funny, when we first met, I just knew you as the video mastermind of UTSA, but then we're talking, and then we start geeking out, and we start talking about music, and then I realized you have a secret identity, which isn't so secret.
No.
But you and it's cool that, like, when you're writing these songs, because music is an audio experience, there are music videos, but when you put on that record, you're creating your own visual
Your
for
own
what's
narrative.
going on, your own narrative.
Yeah.
But it's cool that throughout that songwriting process, you're thinking of a story.
Yes.
And a lot of people, when it comes to instrumental music, they do not really think that that's the case. You know,
and that's fine.
you know,
That's-
but that, you
yeah.
know, it's like you just think they're just jamming and doing what sounds cool, you know. And when you're writing a song with lyrics, you have your story, and it's very in your face. One of my good friends is this guy named Peter Himmelman. Have you ever heard of Peter Himmelman?
I don't think I have.
Peter is a Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
You know, got his big break on Star Search.
Nice.
But he also scores TV shows like Bones. I know he did Bones and Judging Amy, and so he's a Hollywood TV show scoring guy. And he's the reason I did my album. You know, because what happened with him is I was helping him with a show called Furious World, and it was a musical variety show out of his studio in Santa Monica. And so I helped him with the video side of that, and he's like, "Hey, Philip, I see that you're a musician. Why don't you sit in with me?" And I was like, "All right." So I'm on a show one night, and he's like, "Sing Evil Ways." So he wanted to do a Santana song, and so I sang it. And then after the show, he's like, "Dude, I want you to sing on my next record."
Nice.
I'm like, "Seriously?"
Yeah.
I was like, sure,
Yeah,
why not?
nice.
I jokingly say I suffer from stage fright, which means I'm afraid I won't get on stage. And so I'm like, heck yeah. So he sends me a song and says, "Learn it. Next time you're in LA, we'll cut this song."
Yeah.
So we go into his studio, I cut the song, and at the end of the session, he goes, "That's not going on my record, it's going on yours." And I was like, "I'm not doing a record." He goes, "Yes, you are." And I said, "I don't write." And he goes, "I'm going to teach you." And this is the weirdest thing. And there's a reason I'm telling this very long story, but it goes back to what you said earlier. So we go in and he basically peer pressures me into writing my first song, which was awful. But he was like, it's like
have to do it.
he goes, it's
Yeah.
like diarrhea. You just got to
Yep.
get it out.
You have to do it.
And so he said, but once I got this he extracted a song, and then within 6 months I had all the music for my record. And it was weird. I had this mental block of I'm not a songwriter, and it has to be perfect, and instead of just doing it and refining,
Yeah.
and what was
Yeah.
cool about it, there was a song I was working on for my record called Invisible Man, and I wanted to write a song, and I wanted it to be really subtle about basically a homeless person, but I didn't want it to be in your face. If you listen to the song, you would probably not know it's about a homeless person. And he came to it when I showed him some lyrics. He goes, "Assume your audience is more intelligent, and let them fill in the gaps. You don't have to say." You don't have to just be, "I'm a homeless guy, I'm standing on the street." He goes, "Think about what the first thing they see when they wake up. The inside of a cardboard box, maybe?
Perfect.
Or, people laying around them, And he said, be a little more, subtle with how you tell it. And so it really changed the way I write music.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
so my first line was "Sun shining on my face. How did I get here? I was always a successful man. These people around me, I don't belong here. I'll be gone as soon as I can." But does that mean he's homeless? In my mind, that's what I was thinking. And so I know I'm telling a really long story, and this is really your story we want to talk about. But what's cool is that's exactly what you do on the instrumental side.
Yeah.
You are creating a picture of what this song is, the chronological story of this instrumental, and I think it's actually harder to do with music only, because you can't be you have to create the emotion so that people feel that story that you want, instead of just telling them what the story is.
There's so many things to that, Philip, and I love that story because he taught you a valuable lesson, and that's what a narrative is about. So I'm lucky enough to be teaching a class at UTSA in film production, And part of it is the scripting process, and it's exactly that. When they turn in their draft script, we try to find ways to reduce the words that are using and promote to them, let the pictures tell the story, right? Let the pictures do the talking. And in this case with music, you're relying on music to tell a lot of the story. Not you're singing, not your lyrics, but the tone, the mode, the feel, the dynamic changes that happen from major to minor, possibly. There's a lot of cues that there in music that it will help guide your emotions to create your own narrative at that point. Sometimes I write like a whole treatment for a song, just because it's moved me to do it, and I have enough in there that I can identify a few characters and put a little bit of their backstory and stuff like that. And it's important for me because this song, this is called The Guilty One. And this is a continuation.
The Guilty One, song 3 on side A.
This is a continuation of a story we told in our EP. That song was called In the Shadow of the Gallows.
Oh, wow.
And it was very...
That's a heavy title.
It is. Very spaghetti western. And that song I had created a whole treatment for. And the story wasn't done. So when I started on this, I picked up the motif. Okay, the motif I used to end In the Shadow of the Gallows, I used the same motif to begin this song. So it's this A minor type of thing. It's a vamp on an A minor. And honestly, this song is also influenced by the Heartbreakers. I listen to a lot of Petty, man, And I don't know if you know this, but the Heartbreakers, led by Mike Campbell, they have a surf band.
I did not know that.
Called the Blue Stingrays.
Oh, that's a cool name.
It's a great record they put out. So,
was Tom Petty involved with that,
No.
or just the band?
Just Mike Campbell and a couple of the original Heartbreakers were in that. So,
Wow, that's cool.
And I think Ben Mott's in there too. But it's a great record. So just all this chatter with 12-string guitars and this fuzz guitar.
I do like that blend of that clean reverb with the fuzz.
Me too.
It's contrast.
Yeah.
It's layers. It's
keeps the story going. This is my favorite part of the song. This is a lot of fun to do.
Crank it up.
What Darren's doing on the drums and what Lloyd's doing on the bass are just like perfect. Sounds very exotic. This is the portion where the protagonist had been stung by a scorpion because he didn't check his boots.
Oh, wow. I love the detail in your mind when you're writing that part.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And if you do a music video, it makes it very easy to write your script.
Yeah, it does. The song was almost called Scorpion in My Boot.
Dude, that's cool. The Guilty One actually is a great follow-up to the Gallows title.
Yeah, I felt that Scorpion in My Boot was a little too telegraphing.
Yeah.
So I went for the bigger picture, the Guilty One, because that's really, what it's about.
That is cool. Yeah. Dude, this is fun that we can break down this album.
Yeah.
It really is cool. So we're going to segue just a little bit because, I love vinyl so much. I collect records.
Yeah.
Nelco Comics is not a record store officially. We do have some records here, but on my sign out front, it actually says we buy comics, cards, and vinyl records. And that's because I'm secretly just trying to expand my collection, not sell them. But let's pull the vinyl out. This looks colored vinyl. So tell me, but actually there's two questions I want to ask, but I'm going to go in reverse order. So why did you choose this color of vinyl?
I didn't.
Okay.
So we were very lucky to work with a label for this. We put this record out in collaboration with a label from Corpus Christi called Otitis Media Records.
Okay.
And what they wanted to do was they ordered the vinyl. It's all random.
Oh, well, let's look at another one.
Please, no, leave that one out.
Okay.
So you can compare and contrast. This one has it's a ghosty green type color to it.
Let's see our next
there
color.
There are blocks where there's
Oh,
a primary
wow.
color. They're all different. So each one is
Each record is completely different. So
Yeah.
we only have 10 copies here. So if you want to get a nice assortment, you could come buy them all. But
Yeah,
you can't buy all of them because I'm going to have one in my collection. So we have a blue. That's really beautiful.
kind of blue to purple.
Let's see. Let's see what other colors we have.
It was a lot of fun looking through. I think this is one of my favorites.
Did you like go through all of them that you ordered?
I've been through.
Oh.
I've been through half of them. This purple is
Oh my gosh, that looks great.
majestic. Here, you can handle that.
There we go. This is amazing. So you were telling me yesterday a story about an artist that was involved in the pucks for this record.
Yeah.
So I would like you to share that. So I'm just going to leave some of these colors exposed so that people
here's a
can
good
see
one.
them. Oh, I love blue vinyl so much.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Beatles' greatest hits. I have that on blue vinyl, and it's one of my favorite records. So we're just going to leave some colors out here. So tell us a little bit about, it wasn't just we don't care. There was actually a thought process into this approach to your vinyl colors.
Right. Now, there's two parts of that story. So, Otitis Media Records, Noah Drumright is the principal there, and he has a catalog. This is OMR number 76, so he has 75 out previous to this. And he works with all sorts of bands. He has distribution throughout the United States, Mexico, South America, and Europe.
Cool.
And so that was a big draw for me. We're going to get a record someplace. And he's been doing this a while, so he has two ways of making it cost effective. One thing is that the covers, the jackets, are produced separately from the vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
So this is done by a printer in Canada. The vinyl was pressed at a shop somewhere in Ohio. I forgot what city. Shame on me. But I forget the name of the pressing plant. But this pressing plant works with a vinyl artist. So what this vinyl artist does is they take unique materials and they blend it into the vinyl puck that's pressed into the vinyl. And you don't know what it's going to be. So our label guy, Noah, he ordered a number of them. I think maybe 25, 50, 100, I don't know, something, no more than 100. And they are all very unique. I don't have an example of one here. This was the pressing plant telling Noah, what we're going to do, we're going to give you a big discount, and we have only this much material left of this color, only this much material left of these pellets, and only this much of these pellets. So the pressing plant's trying to be economical, and they're going to take some purple pellets and mix it with some blue pellets and get it mixed up, and then once it's pressed down, we're going to get that particular effect on it. That's what happened. And they're all different because
that is cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And people may want, 2 or 3 of them, and that's fine by me. Our EP that we did previous, we did an orange colored vinyl, 100, only 100. They sold out fast. So we did the second edition in a color like this, blue, and some of the folks that bought our first one,
like,
bought
I need the
second
blue
one, yeah, and now asking for us to do a third one because it's not really a collection until you have at least 3.
Okay.
At least in my mind, it's 2 is not a collection.
3, you
3
hit that
starts it,
threshold.
yeah.
That's cool. Well, I'm excited that you came by during yesterday to hang out,
yeah.
and we started talking vinyl and records, and I am so excited. And also, I want to thank you for saving me one copy of your King Pelican EP.
Yeah,
I know you have it somewhere for me, and
I'm
I
going
need
to walk
to buy
off
it.
camera just for a second.
Do you
I'll
have
be
it
right
here?
back. Yeah.
Okay. So, we can stay. Yeah, we'll go here. So while he goes and does his thing, I'm going to hype King Pelican Volume 2. Oh, is this the EP? This is my copy?
Yeah, that's East meets West.
Dude, this is cool. Are there any more copies of this one available?
Yes, there are. Yeah.
I like it. Is that kanji?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, our graphic.
So you did it like the Japanese style records.
This is called. This little label is called an obi, which means belt.
Okay.
And it's authentic kanji lettering that Jamie put on there. You'll have to. I'm not going to tell you what it actually says. You'll have to figure that out yourself.
Dude, I'm excited. So I got a blue. I'm excited about the East meets West.
Yeah, and it's I mean, if you look at these covers and the colors, aren't they appropriate for a comic book shop?
Oh, well, they're appropriate for people who like cool things.
Yeah,
but the
colors really pop like some of the titles of books do here.
Yeah, the problem is I'm not going to leave this in my comic book shop. I'm taking this to my office so that I can actually listen to it, because we have a jukebox here that has 45s.
Yeah.
This is not a 40. So this is a 33 RPM 7-inch.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. And there it is in the shadow of the gallows. I cannot wait to check this out. So let's talk about the record a little bit more. I know we're going to have 10 copies here at Nelco Comics, so if you would like a copy of King Pelicans Volume 2, we will have it here. Retail on the record $25. That's less than you would spend on a LP at Target.
Yeah.
So most of those are like 30, 32 these days. So $25. Where else can they find this?
Otitis Media Records. If you just look them up, search Otitis Media Records, you can go directly to their website and buy this in a 12-inch vinyl, or you can buy CDs are available too of the same record. And they're on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Any other local shops in San Antonio have it yet?
You're the first.
Really?
You won't be the only, but you're the first.
Do you want to go ahead and drop a name just so they can go there? Has anybody told you, yes, bring them by, or are you still working on some deals?
I'm not going to cross-promote someone else's
I will
shop.
Totally cross-promote. You know why? Because we're building community.
I know, but not when it comes to apples to apples.
Okay. Well, we're the only comic book store in San Antonio. Is there a record shop that will have it? Because I don't compete with record shops.
There's two that would like for them to carry it.
Okay.
But until they're actually in there.
Okay, we're not. So the only place you can get this in San Antonio right now is at Nelco Comics at 1134 North Flores Street in the Five Points area.
There's another place if we're timely on this, and can cut this out if it's evergreen, but we'll be at the Lighthouse Lounge on December 8th.
Okay.
And we will have these with us.
Perfect.
So you can pick them up. If you want to, reserve one, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, DM me, tell me, and, we'll see what we can do for you. Online, I should mention, it's not only Otitis Media Records. If you're into surf or 60s instrumental, there's another great website platform called Double Crown Records. And they've been carrying our stuff, this release and previous releases, for a long time. You can find the record there. You can find the CDs there. You can find copies of the East Meets West EP. They've been a colleague, collaborated with us for a while, and has a great catalog of music. So does Otitis. So,
the thing a lot of people have to remember is, in the world of selling vinyl, nobody's getting rich except Taylor Swift. Yep. It's like the record labels. It's not the old record labels where they're making millions of dollars.
No.
It's a passion project, and it's really about supporting something you like. And you find somebody that will take the chance, that will promote. Nobody's getting rich, but everybody's having a good time if they especially when they have King Pelican as one of their their artists. But I'm going to put these away. So I said we will have 10 copies here at Nelco Comics, but that's not true. We will have 9 copies because I'm buying one for myself. So I will have this LP in the Philip Nelson personal collection.
Good. Perfect.
I would feel like I would feel like I've been left behind if I do not. So we have 9 copies. So
and I know the guy that knows the guy. So if you need
there can be more.
Just let me know. Yeah.
So, and just so you guys know, Nelco Comics is my comic. It's a speakeasy comic shop in the Five Points area of San Antonio.
Super cool place.
Super low key, not super polished, as you can see behind us. It's just my nerd lounge. We have a little.
You have a You have
I have
a
a
video game
jukebox.
console. You have a jukebox. You have guitars on the wall.
Yeah, it's just Phillips Playland, really. So, but it's at 1134 North Flores. So we're open Friday, Saturday from 10 till 6, and on Sundays from noon to 6. And so we already have. These are actually our copies, King Pelican Volume 2. And, come by and pick one up. You don't have to even look at comic books. Come play Galaxian by King Pelican. But what's funny is I pride myself.
Comic book too. They're fun. If you haven't read a book in a long time, don't worry about it. Just come in here, tell them what comic book you used to like as a kid or what Marvel movie you dislike and what an alternative would be, and they'll hook you up.
Well, what's even weirder is I pride myself here on having an eclectic mix of comic books.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to some spaghetti Western, I do have old Western comics. I even have some Jonah Hex.
I was about to say I saw a Jonah Hex cover.
Yeah.
I'm
just thinking I want to read Jonah Hex and put this on as a backdrop.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially the Guilty. The
guilty one.
The guilty one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, Ernest, I am so excited you came by to hang out with us today.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. Anytime.
I wish, I kind of want to break down every song on the record, but I think there should be some mystery for the listeners so that you're not tainted with, maybe we do a follow-up and break down another 2 songs because I loved hearing, the Dune Buggy. The Dune Buggy story. So that song is called Dune Buggy. It's cut 5 on side B, and the Guilty one is cut 3 on side A. So
what we could do as soon as we move some of these copies, I could break down, deconstruct the East Meets West EP.
Ooh, yes.
That's all imagery and storyline in there, and that's a fun one. The very first song on there is called Turtle Over Tokyo. What do you think that's about?
I would think it would be about a Godzilla villain, but...
Are you familiar with Gamera?
Oh, it's Godzilla.
Yeah.
Giant rubber suits, Who doesn't love a good giant man in rubber suit movie from Japan?
I love those kaiju movies. I've always, as a kid, what blew my mind when I was doing some research on it? Godzilla and Gamera never met.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're from different studios.
So it's like Star Trek and Star Wars.
Kinda. Yeah, to my knowledge. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I couldn't find a movie that had Gamera and Godzilla in it. Then when I looked into the credits and stuff, it was out of one studio. Like the other studio owned the rights to Godzilla and Rodan and Monster Zero and the Smog Monster. But I think Mothra and Gamera were in a separate franchise.
I did not know that.
Mothra might have met up with Godzilla.
So are you a kaiju fan?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to close on something totally unrelated, but related. What was your opinion of the movie Pacific Rim?
I didn't watch it.
What?
No, I haven't seen it.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say everyone should watch Pacific Rim.
I will.
A lot of the critics panned it, but you know what? It was giant monsters fighting giant robots, and it 100% delivered every bit of that. I love Pacific Rim. In fact, I bought it in 3D. It's really fun to. I'm a nerd that actually does buy 3D movies when they do them, but they don't do as many anymore. I would highly recommend Pacific Rim. It was well done.
Yeah. I during the break, I fell in deep into spaghetti westerns. I had to watch the whole trilogy again, and I really dug deep. Read about Sergio Leone and his approach, and of course Ennio Morricone. And the thing that blew my mind about that, did you know the music was written before the film was shot?
I did not. So it wasn't written for the film. The film just licensed it, and
it was written as the film at that point, right?
Really?
So Ennio Morricone got together with Sergio. They sat down with his script. They charted out the whole movie. And then when they shot the scenes, they were playing the music.
So they were acting to the soundtrack.
That just was incredible.
That is cool.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
we all have some homework to do and watch some spaghetti westerns and some
Yeah.
giant kaiju robots. You know, I'm going to tell you, you know, this is a shameless plug,
Okay.
but I am a big giant monsters, giant robots fan. And there is a comic book called Ultra Mega. And it's about this virus that invades the world, and it turns certain people into these mutant giant monsters. And it was, you know, I don't like a lot of modern comic books, but I got so hooked on Ultra Mega because it's not a kid-friendly book. It's pretty graphic.
Yeah.
But there's these people that they're the heroes, and they can convert into these giant people like Ultraman and the old Japanese,
Yeah.
you know, giant men and robots that fight the kaiju. But they become big, they fight the monsters, and then they become normal again and go back to their normal lives until another monster attacks. So we've got some homework for all of our audience here today. One, come get a copy of King Pelican Volume 2.
Yes.
Go
definitely.
online, get Eats Meets West.
Yeah.
Let's watch some kaiju movies. Let's watch some spaghetti westerns.
Yep.
And if you want to read a cool comic book, check out Ultra Mega. We do have some copies here, but you know, wherever you get it, you're gonna love it. I actually got hooked.
Man, just are some of the trippier ones that came out, like the Immortals from way back when, or the book you turned me on to yesterday, New Gods. You know.
I don't think I
just-
turned you on to that.
Well, I mean,
you were already a
Yeah,
fan.
but
the
physically,
new series,
yeah,
yes.
media turned me on to.
So this is cool. Well, guys, I really appreciate you guys joining us here today. We're excited to have Ernest Hernandez. I call him the king of the King Pelicans. I know y'all are a team,
Yeah,
but
yeah, he
you
needs
know,
to stop that.
I will stop that. He is one of the King Pelicans. There's 3 King Pelicans.
There's 3 King
There's 3
Pelicans.
kings
3
in that
kings.
Pelican bunch,
We
but
3 King Pelicans.
yes, we 3 King Pelicans.
Yeah.
But most importantly, for $25, you can get a copy of King Pelican Volume 2.
Yeah, and if you want, bring it when you come see us December 8th at the Lighthouse, and we'll make some funny notes on it or something. We'll draw some crude pictures or something, whatever you want, you know.
I'm gonna
But at
get
least
I'm gonna
come
get
say
Ernest
hi.
to sign mine before he leaves, and I'm gonna ask him to draw a kaiju. I don't even know if you can draw, but it doesn't matter. It'll be funny. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys joining us today. We're gonna close it out. So Rodney, let's go to the close shot, guys. I'm Philip Nelson. This is the Philip Nelson podcast pre-release edition because we have not officially launched my podcast yet. We're live here in San Antonio, Texas, 5 Points area. At Nelco Comics, so come by and hang out with us. And I love that Ernest is here because he's giving me some play out music. Thanks a lot, and we'll catch you again on the next episode.